Today we're going to answer the age-old question. How many books can I read in 30 days? It's not a particularly age-old question. I'm moving to Scotland tomorrow. Which is a bit terrifying because I have not started packing. I have been alluding to this for the last few videos. I don't know why I was keeping it a secret. I wanted to build suspense. I'm moving to Scotland. Also, that sounds quite dramatic. I'm moving to Scotland for a month. Guys, I have a drama degree. I have to be a little bit dramatic. All of my content through August and what you've seen up till now basically has been pre-filmed because I'm going to be working in Scotland like basically 7 days a week. So I'm gonna have no time. So I've had to pre-film. I basically now have a month where I have nothing to film because I've pre-filmed. So I thought instead of trying to like get confusing, I would just film for an entire month and we're going to see how many books I can read. So that's the plan. The entire time I am in Scotland, I have 4 days off. I am using 2 of those days to go to a concert because it's now a Kahan. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to have a lot of free time. But I still think I should get a decent amount of reading done. I'm only going to take 5 books because I don't have the space in my luggage. So we will almost certainly be going book shopping because I'm imagining I'm going to run out of those 5 books. Not only are we mood reading for an entire month and challenging ourselves to see how many books can we read in 30 days, we will also be book shopping in Edinburgh. So hopefully we're going to have a haul. It's going to be fun. Come along for the ride. I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. I might read 1 book. I might read 30. I'm probably not going to read 30. I thought to start off this video before we move to Scotland, I'm going to pick the books that we're going to take. As of right now, I only have 1 in mind, and that is Stand Up Guy by Nina Kay. Because guess what? It's set at the Edinburgh Festival, and guess what? I'm going to work at the Edinburgh Festival. It's a romance, and it's set at the Edinburgh Festival, and that's all I need to know. I think I might also take with me Then Things Went Dark by B. Fitzgerald. I am very much in a thriller mood at the moment, which is kind of like out there for me. And Penguin Random House were very kind in sending me this ARC copy. It hasn't come out yet, although by the time you guys see this it will have, so I've not nailed that. But I kind of I've been given the ARC copy, I want to read it before it comes out. What else should we take? I'm gonna take Misery by Stephen King because it is on my TBR for the month, and I said in that TBR video, this has been on so many TBRs that it's basically, I was like, if I add it again to a TBR, I have to read it. I have no choice. I only want to take 2 more. Oh, also the audiobook that I'm listening to currently, I have waited a year for this audiobook, hold. A year. I'm only 30 minutes in, I got it yesterday. I am so excited, and it is good material by Dolly Alderton, so we will definitely be reading that in this video. I'm thinking maybe Beautiful World, Where Are You? Because I really want to read that before her new one comes out, and I think that comes out end of September. I actually really want to take The Housemaid. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take The Housemaid. I've been so in the mood to read this recently. That means I only have 1 literary fiction. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay, I've been staring at my bookshelves for 10 minutes. I'm going to stop overthinking it. I'm taking these 3. Oh my gosh, counting. 5. I'm taking these 5. There are 3 thriller books, but I also have audiobooks, and I can also go book shopping. Edinburgh has bookshops. I have to remind myself this. In my head, I'm like, oh, but I'm moving, so I can't bookshop. It's a city. It has bookshops. It's fine. Sorry, I'm fully aware that I'm overthinking this and making it way more dramatic than it needs to be, but it feels like a big decision. By the way, haven't packed a single thing, but I am picking what books I'm gonna take. Anyway, come along for the video, and next time you see me, I will probably be in Edinburgh, or at least on my way to Edinburgh. We're going to read these 5 books, good material, probably some other books. I don't know, I have no idea what's going to happen. Maybe we'll read none of these. Come along for the ride, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's go to Scotland.
How many burgers and fries did we eat on takeaway nights? How many miles did we burn just to see a little of the world? How many times did we say we'll forever be this way?
Guys, we're in... Ow! I was gonna say we're in Edinburgh, but I hurt my elbow moving my case. I forgot how hilly Edinburgh is. I'm gonna have abs by the end of this month. I'm most definitely not. Right, let's catch up. Because I actually got to Edinburgh about 4 days ago. I think the last thing you saw was my journey. I had quite possibly No, that's so dramatic. I was gonna say the worst journey ever. That is a bit dramatic. But it just wasn't, it was not good. So I had to get 3 trains. On my second train, I was just like standing with my case because I was only going a few stops. I was just standing with my case by the door, minding my own business. I wasn't doing anything. And these guys were filming me, and it was just, and they were like laughing, and like at one point he like tried to show me the video, and I was just like, I'm not in on the joke. You're so far away from me. I can't see what you're filming. But like I could see it was me, and I was just so uncomfortable. But I didn't say anything because I was just like, I just want to get off the train. I say boys as well, like full grown men, like 30-year-old men. It was just, I don't know, it was just not fun. I literally was just minding my own business. Whatever. Get off that train, get on my 3rd train, which is the big train from London to Edinburgh. So that's like a 5-hour train. And how those trains kind of work is everyone gets like given a set seat because it's a sold out train. So I went to my assigned seat and there was someone in it, and I kind of said, oh sorry, I think this is my seat. And she said, it was like her and her friend, and she was like, oh yeah, someone's in our seat, I think people are just sitting wherever. So I was like, okay cool, I'll just sit like next to them, the seats next to them were free. So I was like, that's fine, I'll just sit here. But then obviously the next person who gets on comes up to me and goes, you're in my seat. So I was like, oh yeah, sorry, I think everyone, I did what she did to me. I said, I think everyone's just sitting wherever. And she was like, no, move. So I had to move. So I go sit in a different seat, and then somebody else comes along, and I spent the first half an hour of the train moving every 5 minutes. So eventually I just go back to this girl, and I was like, I tried to explain it. I was like, hey, sorry, I know it's a bit of a pain, but is there any chance I can have my seat? And she just said no. So I spent the 5-hour train playing musical chairs by myself. So nothing like that awful happened. It was just, I was overwhelmed anyway. I had so much stuff with me because obviously I'm moving for a month, and like, it was just overwhelming, and then just none of these interactions helped. But whatever, it's done. I'm in Edinburgh, ow, and I really hurt my elbow. But what you're all actually here for, reading update, I thought on the train I was going to finish an entire book, and I think I would have, but because I was so anxious because of previous said interactions, I just didn't get as much reading as I wanted done. So I made it to page 109. I'm really enjoying this so far. It's my first Freida McFadden book. I'm in such a thriller mood at the moment, which is so rare for me. And I know everyone talks about how easy Freida McFadden's books are to read. The chapters are so short and the stories are just so addictive and just easy. So I got to page 109 on the train. As I mentioned, it is now 4 days later. I am still on page 109, but from here on out, we're gonna get a bunch of reading done. I think we're gonna get some good books read this month, so stick around.
Followed her heart to the places she's been. You can find in her photos all the time she spent. Traveling with friends and singing in the bed.
Ow. Part 2! Part 2 changes perspectives. So much is going on right now. Okay, unfortunately I'm having to stop because I have to go to work. I'm up to page 214, so I'm like a little bit into part 2. It's all kicking off. I did kind of suspect the thing that like just happened. I don't know how to explain it without spoiling it, but the kind of like the stuff that's being explained at the part of part 2, I didn't know like the details, but in terms of like the big thing, if that makes sense, I suspected that. But I'm literally eating this book up. I'm flying through it. But I've got just over 100 pages left of this. Right, I have so many updates and I have to go out in 4 minutes. So, are we all listening? Because I am going to whistle-stop tour this. Update number 1. We finished the first book. I finished The Housemaid. I read this in, what, 3 sittings? And it would have been less, but it was just like, that was like how I managed to work it around because I've been really busy. I could have read this in 1 sitting, which is so rare for me. If you are in a book slump, the easiest book on the planet to read. And as somebody who, I like reading, right? I have a YouTube channel dedicated to reading. I I don't know if this is going to be relatable. As someone who reads as much as I do, I don't always find it easy to read. Like, I sometimes have to force myself to get into a book or to like sit down and actually read. Whereas this was just, it made it so easy. So if you're ever in a book slump or you understand what I just said, which probably most people won't, most people probably just find reading easy, but I don't always. But I feel like Freida McFadden is an author who I'm now going to hopefully go and pick up a bunch of her books, because I feel like they will be such good books for whenever I'm just feeling a bit, I don't really want to read. I'll just be like, how do you get out of this? We'll get a Freida McFadden book. I think they have a bunch of the works, so I might see if I can pick up a few. Maybe this was my first one. I feel like this is her most popular one, and I see why. It definitely got like drama-y at the end, like almost like soap opera, like craziness going on. But it did what I wanted it to do. It was fast-paced, it was fun, it was thrilling. What more can you ask for? Right, update number 2. I have 2 minutes left. Okay, update number 2 is that I am currently 40% into Good Material by Dolly Alderton. I've just been listening to it while I get ready in the mornings. Guys, I want Dolly Alderton to be my best friend. The writing in this book is so comforting. Also, it's about a comedian, which I didn't know, and I love books about comedians, and like bits of it are mentioning Edinburgh, so that's just like a little extra bonus. I don't think I ever explained what the book was about, and I don't have time to do it right now, but very briefly, it is about a man who is like basically going through a breakup, but it's the breakup from his perspective, which I feel like is unusual. I've never read a book like that. Kind of like him in the weeks after the breakup, trying to navigate, like trying to go out with friends, but a lot of his friends are in their 30s and have families and they can't hang out with him, and he's kind of feeling left behind, and it's like the panic of aging. I just love reading about it, and it's so comforting. Which leads me into update number 3. I need to finish this book soon because I've just found out that Dolly Alderton is coming to Edinburgh Fringe, and more importantly, there are tickets left. So I got one. I don't even really know what it is. I think it's just like a talk from Dolly Alderton talking about writing or something. I don't even know, but I am so excited. So I need to finish that in the next couple of days. Right, update number 4, not really an update, but I thought we could do it together, is we need to pick our next read. I'm going to take it with me today. See, I'm still very much in a thriller mood, but I don't normally read genres back to back, so I might go with Stand Up Guy by Nina Kay, even though I am still very much in my romance slump. If you've been to this channel before, you will know that for the last probably like month now, I have not wanted to pick up any romance books, and I don't know where it's come from, and I don't know when it's gonna leave, but they're just, I don't know, something about them is not gelling with my brain at the moment. But this is set at the Edinburgh Fringe. It's about a comedian at the Edinburgh Festival. If I don't read it now, I'm never gonna read it, so I have to read it this month. And I would like to get to it now. And it looks like there's some mixed media. There's also like text messages. I'm hoping this will be an easy one. So I think I'm gonna take this with me today, and I really need to go. So I think that's all of the updates, and I'll catch you, I don't know, at some point. I need to get a train. Thought I would just give you a little update on Stand Up Guy. I'm on page 71. I thought I was a lot further through than that. I literally was going to say I'm a third of the way through this book. Well, that is not true. But I have made it to chapter 10. Initial thoughts. The guy's Irish, so that's beautiful. There was the tiniest moment where they first met, where honestly the guy was just straight up rude, like actually just straight up horrible, and I was like, enemies to lovers, and then they literally resolved it on the next page, and I was like, not enemies to lovers. If you have ever muttered the words, and I know a lot of people have, if you've ever muttered the words, I can't stand the miscommunication trope, then this book is for you, because all these kids do is communicate. It's interesting because I guess I'm used to like angsty and like more like relationships with tension in them when you read these kind of books, and because whenever these guys come up with an issue, they just immediately talk about it. It does mean that there isn't that same tension, but I guess that just comes down to like personal preference of what you like. I personally do quite like tension, enemies to lovers, angst-filled romance book, but I know that that isn't everyone's cup of tea. in which case this is probably something you would adore, because these kids communicate. Like, real life, super healthy relationship, love it. Except that he was just straight up rude to her when they first met. And it's like, there was an explanation for it, kind of, but he was just straight up rude. Like, if somebody spoke to me like that, I'd be like, right, off you pop, see you later. And like, he did apologise, but I don't know. He still needs to win me back. I will say, loving the setting. Obviously, I'm at the Edinburgh Fringe, I've probably mentioned. This is set at the Edinburgh Fringe, and it actually, I think the author is from Edinburgh. Oh, I don't know actually, it just says she loves the city of Edinburgh. But you can tell that she knows Edinburgh very well, and all of the places that she's talking about, because I'm like getting to know all these places really well, like always mentioning places, and I'm like, I know where that is. So that's like a fun element, which to be fair, is 90% of the reason why I bought this book. Actually, let's be honest, 100% of the reason why I bought this book, to give that like Edinburgh atmosphere. So it's definitely doing that. And if you've ever been to the Fringe, this definitely like captures that. So I'm enjoying the atmosphere. Not sure about the guy yet, but I'll let you know on that one. It's quite literally an hour later. Had no intention of talking to you this soon, but I kept reading for a little bit and I've made it to page 116, so actually a third this time. Guys, the romance slump is slumping still so hard. I don't know if it's like the style of book, because they are basically together now, and as I said, they've been communicating, they've been talking, so there is like not very much tension. They're together, they're having a jolly old time. I don't think there's any spice in this book, but there's like suggested spice, so all of that stuff is going on, and they're kind of just together now, so I'm not really sure what's going to happen for the rest of the book. I do know that I am just not in a romance mood right now, and it's just like, this has been an ongoing issue for the last month and a half, and I don't know when it's going to leave, but I don't really want to like force myself through a book, so I think this might be one that I'm going to just pick up and read in like little bits throughout the next week or so. I don't think I'm in the mood to like binge this. I'm heading out now. I'm thinking of starting something else and taking that book with me. So let me grab the options quick. Oh, should also mention, don't think I said this, I am so nearly done with Good Materials. I think I'm at 80% through. Loving it, literally loving it. It's the most comforting book. I just thought I'd say that, I'm loving it. Anyway, these are the 3 books that we have left that we bought with us. I'm not gonna lie, I am still very much in my thriller mood. I don't normally like reading genres back to back, but I'm just so in the mood for it. I might even go with this, Then Things Went Dark by B. Fitzgerald. This is an arc, although by the time you're seeing this, it will be out, because it comes out the 5th of September. This is about a reality show and then someone dies live on TV. I think I'm in the mood for this. I think I'm going to take this with me. I am also going to take this with me, even though I'm literally going to have no time to read today, so why am I taking 2 books with me? I think I might just like almost tandem read them. It's literally 1 AM. I don't know if you can hear me, I'm trying not to wake everyone up. I just finished Good Materials. Today in the morning. Loved it. Loved it. So sorry for the no makeup jump scare. I'm getting ready for the day. Also, I haven't made the bed. We're all gonna make an all that. I thought I would just quickly talk to you guys about Good Material, because I finished it last night. Pretty much the entire book we're following the main guy. Honestly, by the end of the book, he feels like he's just one of your mates and he's just like telling you about his life. And she's done such an amazing job of making you root for him at parts, and at other parts you're like, yeah, that's questionable behaviour. And something that is so interesting is we're obviously following like basically the main guy's perspective the entire way through, and then at probably around the like 80% mark we get the girl's perspective, Jen, and it's so interesting because you're basically by that point rooting for this guy and you're like, she's the worst, how could she have left him? Well, Okay, it's not quite as black and white as that. You like see little bits and you pick up on like, okay, maybe you shouldn't have done that, but maybe she shouldn't have done that. But because it's like when you get only one side from your friend and then suddenly you meet the other person and you're like, oh, actually there's a whole picture going on here. So getting her perspective, I'm actually so happy that Dolly Alderton did that. Beautiful way of not like necessarily flipping the narrative. It's not necessarily that there's like these big plot twists where you were like, he was in the wrong all along. It's just you get this like full picture. I just love how she had perspectives but also empathy for both of them. I feel like at this point I would genuinely read anything Dolly Alderton writes. I don't know why I'm trying to talk while I'm doing my makeup. I always see like people who are actually good at this stuff do it, and yeah, I can't multitask. I'm gonna talk to you when I've actually finished doing this. Right, let's try this again. I don't know why I thought I was some like influencer who could do eyeliner and talk at the same time. I can barely do either of those things separately. What was I trying to tell you? Finished my first Dolly Alderton book. I am now so excited to pick up Ghosts, which is her debut. But also I went and heard Dolly Alderton speak. It was just the most wholesome vibe. It was at McEwen Hall, which is massive, so there were so many people there and so many people in the queue were reading. Like quite a few people were reading her books, but then just generally people were reading like whatever. And listening to Dolly speak, she's so funny and interesting, and yeah, it was just, I really enjoyed it. And Yomi Adegoke was interviewing her, and she is the author of The List, which I keep seeing in bookstores and I have been so intrigued by it. So if anyone has read it, let me know your thoughts, but I am thinking about picking that up now. Yeah, it was such a wholesome time. And is that only the second book I finished in this video, Good Materials? I feel like I'm reading quite slowly just because I'm so busy. I'm kind of like tandem reading Then Things Went Dark and Stand Up Guy, but I can't show them to you because they are propping up my tripod. Well, they are my tripod. So yeah, I guess those are all the updates. I am currently on page 86 of Then Things Went Dark. I'm actually so happy I decided to go back to a thriller mood because I'm just in a thriller, like, I was gonna say era, you know what I mean? I'm just in such a thriller mood at the moment, which is so rare for me. I'm sort of loving this. It's basically every single chapter is broken up into, so you start with the like rundown of the episode, so it's almost like a Love Island-esque sort of thing. There are challenges and there are like people like getting in relationships, that kind of thing. So you get the rundown of each of the episodes, kind of like how an audience member would see it. Then you have a little section of like a couple of tweets, so like audience reactions, I guess, to the episode. And then you get like 2 or 3 pages on the police investigation after Reese has died. So the episodes are in almost like the past timeline, I guess. It's like everything leading up to Reese dying, and then the police investigation is like after. I'm just flying through it. The pacing is immaculate. I am actually going to see Kahan tomorrow. I'm so excited. So I'm going down to London for the night. I have one 4.5-hour train tomorrow, and then the day after I have a 6-hour train. I don't know how they're different length trains. I guess one of them is stopping off at more places. But basically, I have 10 hours of reading to do. So I'm going to take this with me on the train and then probably another one, honestly. I'm not sure yet. Or I could take this and Stand Up Guy. I'm sure I won't do 10 hours of like straight reading, but I would like to get at least a good chunk done if possible. I'd like to get this book done on the train. And I think that's doable because this is so easy to read. Probably the next time I see you, I'll be at Kahan. I'm so excited, guys. So excited.
Everything we dreamed of in 2016 in Seattle. I hope you know that I'm thankful for all we did and all we tried to do. Sometimes I still dream of you, and some evenings I still feel it. I crack a smile when my heart's bleeding on the floor. I guess you cleaned out my drawer.
Guys, I have so many updates for you. First things first, Kahan was amazing. Dare I say, best concert I've ever seen. I love that man so much. His songs, they mean everything. So yeah, literally had the best time. If you ever get the chance, highly recommend. So worth the like 12-hour train round trip, which by the way, both of my trains were so badly delayed, but it meant I got partial refunds on both of them, so that worked out well. But I have so many reading updates for you. Where should we start? I started the audiobook of Daddy by Emma Cline. That is a short story collection. I am a big Emma Cline fan. Well, I've only read one book. I read The Guest. I loved it. Anyway, started this book. I kind of forgot that it was a short story collection, so I listened to the first story and I was getting really, really into it, and then it switched and I was like, oh no. I was enjoying that. It's very much like classic Emma Cline writing, where there's not a crazy amount going on, and it was all very subtle, which was so interesting. Like, I feel like the most interesting part of the story kind of went unsaid, but it was like hinted at, and I get the impression from having heard a review of the entire thing that that is kind of like the vibe of all the stories. I'd give you like a plot summary of the first story, but I don't really know what to say about it. Kind of just about this fairly dysfunctional family, but there wasn't like loads going on, but it was really good. So take what you will from that. As I say, I've only listened to the first story. Then mostly on the train I read Then Things Went Dark, and I so nearly finished it but not quite. I'm now on page 370, so I have literally 40 pages left, so I'm gonna finish this literally in a second. But I am really enjoying it. We've got now, because we're going through all the episodes of the TV show, we're now at the finale. So this is the one where the guy dies. We don't really know. Obviously we've been getting like all the build up to that, like everything that's kind of gone wrong on the TV show up to that point. So we're finding out now how like he actually dies, and I assume who did it and all of that stuff. So I'm gonna read that in a second. And then I was also tandem reading Stand Up Guy, so I've made it to page 194, so about just over halfway, 60%. New favourite part of this book is actually the subplot about her struggling to like make friends. Like, it's kind of talking a lot about being an adult and having your friends kind of move away, and she's like struggling with loneliness, and I'm actually really enjoying that subplot. But yeah, didn't actually finish either of the books on the train, which is annoying because, as I say, both of my trains were so delayed, so I should have got both done, but I was just so tired. I wonder how many pages I did actually read. See if I can figure it out. Now to look at my editing. Also, I'm editing this vlog kind of like as I go. It's so long. I'm so sorry. I never do vlogs this long, but I hope you're enjoying it. If you're still here. If you're still here, props to you. So I read 284 pages of this one. So I think I read 78 pages of this one. Oh, I forgot what number I said. Was it 248? So in total on the train, I read 326 pages of these two books. And I don't know how many pages that Emma Cline book was. Should we round up to 400? Which isn't bad, like that's a book. But I definitely had wanted to at least finish this one. But I'm going to do that now, and then I will give you a final roundup. I have finished Then Things Went Dark by B. Fitzgerald. Guys, I really liked this. I am so in my thriller mood. It's actually unreal, but I really enjoyed this. It was so fast paced. I loved the like how each episode was broken up. So you had like the episode and then the tweets and then a little bit of the police investigation. It just made it feel, even though it wasn't mixed media really, it made it kind of feel like that. Like it kind of always gave it that pacing, and it meant I was just engaged the whole way through. The pacing was wonderful. The ending was not necessarily what I was expecting, but it wrapped it all up nicely. If you're a Love Island fan and a thriller fan, you actually have to read this. If you like reality TV, because it does all get a bit like soap opera-y, like high drama, like very dramatic. I really enjoyed this, and I've basically flown through this, even though it's taken me a few days. Like when I've actually been reading it, just flown through it. This comes out on the 5th of September, so I'm pretty sure this video is going up after that, so this should be out if you want to get it. And I would, because if you want a fast-paced, fun thriller, this is your guy. On to the next book.
We weren't perfect for each other, but we were running away from another love. Couldn't get enough, did everything we dreamed of in 2016.
Excuse the pyjama trousers. I Actually, I have no excuse, I just am in pyjamas. What can you do? 2 updates for you. The first one being that I have finished another book. I will talk about that in a minute. But I just wanted to say, I just went on my way home to the cutest bookstore I have ever been in. It was called Topping and Company, and it was stunning. There were like rooms everywhere, like tiny little rooms with like obviously books in and like ladders on wheels. It was just so freaking cute. I didn't end up getting anything sadly because I have no room left in my suitcase. I've done a whole separate book shopping video that I filmed a few days ago. I really wanted to have it in this video, but this video is already so long, and if I put it in this video may never end. So stick around. It will be out probably in like a week or so, and it's how many bookstores can I go to in 24 hours. So that will be coming soon, and I did buy quite a lot of books, but this store, unfortunately, I didn't end up getting anything. But I just want to say about a couple books that I found that I nearly got because they sounded really interesting. So firstly, Everyone I Know Is Dying by Emily Slapper. It was like 20-year-old messy literary fiction. I just thought it sounded so up my alley. And then another one was I Love You But I've Chosen Darkness by Claire Vay Watkins. I think it was about postnatal depression. I read like the first few pages and it sounded amazing. And then I found a book called Escape and Control by Steve Hollyman. I don't remember what this one was about at all, but the formatting looked really cool, and obviously the title and the cover page was just so cool. And then I nearly got Shark Heart, but I'm so sad that they have changed the paperback from the gorgeous hard copy. If you've seen the hard copy cover, you know what I'm talking about. It's so gorgeous. And like the other one is, there's nothing wrong with the paperback. It's just, I think if I'm gonna get that book, I'm gonna have to get the hardcover. Those were all the books that I nearly got, but as I say, I have no room left in my case after I did that big book shopping video. So sad times. But if you're ever in Edinburgh, go to that store because it is gorgeous, and they had so many books I'd never heard of in there. I hope to go back there at some point in the future. And my other update is that I finished Stand Up Guy Today by Nina Kay. My favourite things about this book ended up being obviously the like atmosphere and the environment, because it's set at the Fringe and I'm at the Fringe, so it's just like it really like resonated. And then that subplot about her like trying to make friends as an adult and struggling with loneliness and all of that stuff, I really liked that. The romance was very like different to the normal kind of romances I read, and I think it probably comes down to like personal taste, what you like. They communicate a lot, but they do have also quite a lot of misunderstandings, but then they just solve those misunderstandings very quickly. But then he disappears for a while and then he comes back. And they resolve it quite quickly. So I guess it just depends what you like in a romance. But I bought this book for the setting. I wanted it to give Edinburgh Fringe atmosphere, and it absolutely did that. So cannot complain. Those are my updates for now. I'm actually going home in 2 days. I'm like both sad and excited because I've loved being here, but I'm also missing my dog and my family and my dog. I need to decide what book to start on the train. I've still got my Emma Cline book. I haven't listened to any more since my other train a few days ago, but I can listen to that on the way back, and then I will start something else physically, possibly before the train actually, but anyway, we'll see. I'm rambling, I've been talking for ages. I'm back in England. This month went simultaneously so fast and so slowly. I'm feeling happy to be back. I reunited him with my dog, which was the most wholesome thing ever. I did miss him. It's actually been a few days since I've been back, so I've seen my family, I've seen my friends. It's been very nice to be back. But I thought I would just touch base with you guys. So the last time I spoke to you must have been when I was just leaving Edinburgh, right? So we had the train ride, went smoother than the way up, luckily. Listen, the reading was I was tired. It did not go well on the way back. I made it to, I think, wait, let me check, about 30% through the Emma Cline short story collection. I will say I'm slightly nervous that me and short stories over audiobook don't go well, because you know when you're like trying to get into an audiobook, it takes you a minute to like figure out the setting and who everyone is, and it kind of takes you a minute, I guess with any book though really, but more so for me anyway with audiobooks, it kind of like takes a minute to, I guess, situate myself in the story. Obviously with short stories you have to do that over and over again, so I'm half thinking of not finishing the audiobook and going to the library and seeing if they just have a physical copy. If they don't, I will just continue the audiobook because I am enjoying it. I think Emma Cline is an incredibly talented author. Her characters are very complex, but the stories are like subtle, so it's not loads of like in-your-face plot. But I just think her writing is so beautiful. But yeah, might try and finish that physically. I just don't think me, short stories, audiobooks gel. I don't know if that's an ADHD thing or if that's just everyone. Maybe that's just my experience in general with short stories, because I guess even physically, like, you still have to refocus and resituate for every story. I don't know, I'm rambling. Anyway, I will definitely finish that book at some point in the near future. And then I made it to page 14, my lucky number. Page 14 of Beautiful World, Where Are You? I read the first chapter of this book. Loved it though. I did. I genuinely did really enjoy the first chapter of this. And then I started reading the second chapter and it was so complicated that I was just like, I need to focus in order to be able to read whatever is going on in this second chapter. I need to switch this on. And this was not able to be switched on during that train ride. For one thing, my journey back was 6 trains, which is arguably quite a lot of trains for one day. So for one thing, it was just like I had so much stuff with me, so I was just a bit frazzled trying to move everything, so I never really like settled on any of the trains. I was also just knackered. Maybe I should have picked like an easier book for the way back. I was just, I guess, not in the reading mood. But I did start this. Enjoyed the first 14 pages. If you've been here before, you know I love Sally Rooney. I adore everything she writes. Well, I've only read 2 of her books, but actually I think she only has 2 books, and this one, and then Intermezzo is about to come out. So excited. But loved those 2. Big fan. Hopefully we'll love this. Love the beginning. That is the end of our 30 days. I didn't read as much as I do in a typical month, which I kind of suspected might happen. To be honest, I had no idea how this was going to go. Part of me was worried I wouldn't read anything, or I would read like 1 book and this video would be really boring. So while I still read less than I do in a typical month, I'm still happy with what I did read, and I think for the most part I read pretty good books. I would summarise them all for you, but I don't know where they are. Maybe I'll put them here. I don't know how good my editing is. Challenge for myself. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are new and you want to stick around, please subscribe. I would love to have you. And we have an exciting 24-hour book shopping video coming up very soon. So you should stick around and then you can see it. Do I have anything else to say? Don't think so. Right, love you. See you in the next one. Bye!